Yo, 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 yo. What it do? It is RB22, episode 54 of Texas Ring Fire. It's been a while. Had so much happen these past few weeks. I'm sure the fans have no idea, but we do. We'll fill them in a little bit. My boy Jose, how are you, dude?
Dude, it's been a crazy couple of weeks, bro. I'm glad we're back. I'm glad we're doing this again. I feel like we took a hiatus unwillingly, right? We kind of we had some things going on life in the background, bro. But look, man, footy's back. MLS is back on twice a week again, catching up on games. I can't complain, bro. I can't complain. I am a little upset because if anybody's not tuning into Dallas right now, we're down 1-0. One of the worst ways. We'll get into it. These refs are a fucking joke. Outside of that, though, bro, doing really well.
Yeah. So, just to fill the fans in, Jose and his fam, they did come down with COVID in the household. So everyone got COVID. He does have a fairly newborn child at home. So, how was that with the
Bro,
newborn?
he's good. He's a trooper. I didn't even. I'll be honest, man. First time parent, I didn't know what to expect. Part of me kind of freaked out a little bit, but I think after digging around, doing some reading, it really isn't bad if you can manage it. So he actually had his worst was a cough, but he was still on the couch with me with his old man watching games, trying not to let COVID bring us down too bad. Bro, he honestly probably handled it better than I did. So I mean, shout out to the little one. I think Enzo handled it perfectly. The wife too, man. She was a godsend keeping this house in order while everybody in the house got COVID. So we're back now. I'm back to the content grind. She's back to work. Baby's sleeping right now, thank God. So the show goes on.
What a name, Enzo. What a
Enzo.
name. I love it.
I,
So,
I, I, deals are telling me he's going to be a defensive mid just based on that name alone. Like we'll see,
yeah,
bro. We'll
there
see.
you go. El Cinco. So, I didn't think about it, but yeah, your first time with your child, as fresh. If y'all are fresh, I have 3 kids, so at this point, it's kind of like I don't freak out too much anymore. Kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
But when you're first on it, even when they're sleeping and they're like like that,
yeah,
you're like,
bro.
are they okay? Are they
It's
are they
it's little
okay?
things, little things, little
Yes,
things.
yeah. So I'm glad that everything went smooth for you guys. COVID, that's a scary thing. Did take a lot of lives. Still is. So got to be very aware of that kind of
Cases are
thing.
going up, peeps. Yeah,
Yeah.
be ready for the fall. It's going to be
I don't know
interesting.
where Harry's at. Maybe sometimes he does fall asleep. So and then I know his son has practice. So
Yeah,
hopefully he's okay.
yeah.
I did, me and my son Russell, little RB22, we did get into a car accident about 2 weeks ago, and that kind of put us on a hold. Also, just trying to get,
I know,
it
man.
didn't. Obviously, I'm still here, right? But small minor things that the injuries that are keeping me from working and stuff like that. So thankful that I'm still here and we're in the show. We're gonna get episode 54 going, and that's what's been going on with us, man. So we're back.
Crazy,
We're
bro.
we're ready for Texas Ring of Fire, Austin FC, FC Dallas, Houston Dynamo. That's what we're here to discuss. We'll get into the Austin FC segment part of it though.
Let's hit it
Austin
first,
FC,
bro. There's
man.
there's a lot going on. What's the streak at now? Is it almost 70 days winless?
I think it is. It's at 68 days right
Mm.
now, I believe. So we're, yeah. I mean, we're pretty much gonna hit the 70-day mark before Sunday. So that it's been it's gonna be 72 days that we have not won a game. Come Sunday, we host LA Galaxy. We did play the New York Red Bulls tonight. I want to touch on that. We have not won a game in 68 days, guys. 68 days. Austin FC has not won a game.
A point's a
That
point
is pretty
tonight, though.
ridiculous.
A point's a point
Th-
tonight. I mean, you did come
A
back and
point
grab
tonight,
that one.
but an own goal by Rigoni. I mean,
If that guy needs
eh,
any
eh,
more fucking flack, I agree, bro. It's tough, but Sebastian Driussi and the fact that even in a down season, he's finding ways to come up clutch. I'll give you guys benefit of the
the
doubt
guy,
at
yeah.
Driussi FC
I
right now.
mean, yeah, right. Finally, the guy woke up too. Because beginning of the season, he wasn't that guy. But we knew it was in him. Like, what's missing? What's going on? The wolf out crowd is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. and I think it's just going to get bigger. And I'm very curious. I'm very curious to see what Burrell is going to do at the end of the season because listen to me, a lot of people are calling for pre-court now, and it's like it's not up to pre-court, it's up to Burrell. So if it's up to Burrell, if Burrell keeps Wolf after this season, Jose, it's going to tell me a lot of what to expect
Okay, hold on,
from in the
hold on.
future.
Let me ask you this though. Let me ask you this because
Go for it.
I have a contrarian take to the Wolf out crowd, but I'll get to that in a second. Here's the situation I want to almost dig into from Austin's perspective, and every fan should be asking themselves this. And I think that you should try to put yourself in pre-court shoes because it's not that easy. If Austin, I don't know, man, by some miracle of God, right, finds a way to creep into playoffs and you exit playoffs first round, right, in that wild card 8th or 9th game, do you think that's enough to give Wolf one more season?
So hear me out. We make playoffs. Wolf stays. Man, dude, it could, right? It could give him another season. But me personally, I think we're at the point that we've seen enough, and we know what Wolf's going to bring to the table, and there's no learning in Wolf anymore. Wolf needs to learn by moving on from this job and going to another job, and maybe having a fresh plate and all that, and then be like, okay, let's not do this here. But I think that's where we're at.
Possibly. And I look, there is some merit to what you're saying in terms of like, okay, managers can only learn so much before they just need a fresh experience, right? And I'll give Austin FC fans, especially the Wolf Out crowd, benefit of the doubt. And I'm not even trolling. I'm not trying to be devil's advocate here. I just when I think about whether or not I'm ready to move on from a manager, because this is a question, and we'll dig into Dallas here in a little while, but this is a question that I've been getting from some friends is that if that this is going to be Dallas's probably worst season in 3 or 4 years potentially, right? Is are we ready to move on from Nico? And I'll give the same answer because I think it's not too indifferent from what's going on with Austin. Different types of managerial problems, but there's still a lot that's out of their control. I think that Austin FC fans wouldn't even know who to replace him with. That's one. Okay.
I agree. 100%.
And then two is I think Borrell is probably going to be wanting to run something similar to what Josh Wolf is doing. Period. I just think that you don't establish a winning culture by continuously changing the system and the method in which you coach your players. Like now, can Wolf improve in-game management stuff? Can he improve the relationship he has with his players? 100%. I'm not going to pretend to understand how that part of it works. And I think only he and his players know how tight-knit they really are as a group and whether or not his in-game management tactics work. Because it's one thing to have tactics down on paper, on a clipboard. It's another thing to react to situations that happen inside of the match. So that's a different argument for a different day. But I still think those things are harder to do, especially when there isn't this like giant pool of managers to go after. Like who do you actually replace Wolf with, and how are they going to do anything different with this group of aging players that Wolf couldn't do himself? That's all that I'm saying.
Right. No, I agree. 100%. Yeah, who do you go for? That's the argument too. But I think that whenever people say who do you bring in, it's like I don't think that at a point when the manager is failing and failing and failing, it's not like you're sitting there like, okay, we had this guy on the back burner, let's call him up and let him
Yeah.
know that we're ready for him. Right? It's not like that. It's once you start seeing problems, then you start looking, and like you say, who do you go after?
I don't know. I think maybe they get a recommendation from Rodo, right? I think maybe he has, who knows, he might have a short list of 3-4 candidates and maybe make a lot of sense if you're able to then go out and how much you're gonna have to spend to acquire some of these guys to bring them in, right? And then again, there's just no telling if they're going to work out. But I will say this, in my opinion, unless you have a clear and very very clearly better candidate than Wolf right now, and I mean very clear, it has to be very obvious that he's going to be a step up from what you have in Wolf, that I think you have to give those two together, the technical director and the manager, a full window. A window to go out there and grab talent that better aligns with not just the team they want to put together on paper, but the culture they want to have at a newer club like Austin FC. I think if you could do that and it still fails, and like maybe he's still choosing Owen out of personal bias, if there's still rumors of there being like a ton of a rift in the locker room between old heads and Wolf, then maybe we start talking about moving on. But I just don't know if there's a manager out there that could do that much better than what you currently have with this roster of players. I think with Fagundes gone, I almost would look at it as like, hey, we need to scratch the rest of this season, or at least lower our expectations, and then go into the window with this gung ho mentality of we're going to start fucking winning right now, and then see what happens. But I just don't know if you can, with the snap of your fingers, level up your manager. I don't think it works that way.
Yeah, to add on to what you said, you did bring up some good points. Burrell may have a short list, right?
Maybe.
It may be in Europe. What if there's managers in Europe that wouldn't mind coming to the MLS, right? That wouldn't mind it. Just like Burrell didn't mind it. Sorry.
I
Just
mean
like Burrell didn't mind
that
it.
that
And
could be true, right?
and
But
then
again,
we
it just
don't
goes back
have
to how
but we don't have
credentialed are
salary
they?
caps. But we don't have salary caps on managers, on sporting director and all that. So if Precourt is on board, Burrell's on board, we want to spend the money, we can spend whatever we want on a manager. It doesn't matter about the manager. Players are where we have to be smart about where we spend our money, right?
True.
So that's my thing, is that you may be right. Who do we go for? But maybe Burrell does have that short list, and it's like, hey, you guys, Precourt, when you came and talked to me, you told me that I could have what I wanted. This is who I want. Let's go after him. And I feel like the pockets are deep here enough to do that.
Enough, yeah. And I will say this: there's the profile of manager that you guys should be going after if it's not Wolf, because I still think you guys play a similar ball regardless of who's at the managerial helm. I think this is how Rodo plays. He's trying to, help create whatever culture. I'm not going to pretend to understand that part of it, but when I see the difference in tactics from when but before Borrell got there to where Austin FC is today, I know a lot of the fans shit on the tactics, but they're actually not bad. Like the way you guys move the ball isn't terrible. I think sometimes it's in-game decisions that he makes. It's switching the tactics or the pace of the tempo of the match too late, wait till like the 80th minute versus like the 60th or 65th minute to really start ramping things up speed-wise. But you almost wonder what Wolf could do if he had a plethora of younger talent. Now, maybe he's not that manager. Maybe he's not yet disciplined enough to be a manager that does a lot with a little bit. And that's a skill in itself. Like to me, I still think like Nico Estevez in Dallas knows how to do a lot with a little bit. And so you almost need a manager like that, right? I think you guys are suffering for some of the same problems that La Selección, right? Mexico is suffering, in that they're trying to move on from old heads. They don't know how to do it. They need a manager that knows how to work with youth, how to identify strong youth talent, and work with the director to attract them to this new club they probably haven't heard of before. I think if you could do that effectively, even with, you have to move on some of the deadwood that you guys have now, and I'm at a point right now where I know I stuck up for him in the past on this show. I'm at a point right now where Rigoni's probably deadwood. He's over 30. I don't know if he gets better than what we've seen already. You have to move on players like that, and if you can remove those guys, you already moved from Fagundes. You might as well complete the mission. You know what I mean? And then you saw Fadri come in this past game. I don't know if I don't think he came in tonight, but the game before at the weekend, you get more of those moments. The fans start to believe like there's something here that we're trying to do. Then we start talking about, okay, maybe Rodo actually has a good head on his shoulders. Maybe he knows what he's doing. Maybe it wasn't necessarily Wolf being the problem, but maybe he's just not the best fit for the team right now. Whatever it may have been, right? I think that we just need to see more to judge it off of the streak you guys are going on right now, when there's been so much of clash between the old heads and the manager. It's almost unfair. I see your boy on Twitter all the time, right? Talking about how patience is kind of the key. I don't know how much you agree with that. That he's still Wolf in. I don't know if I can sit here and say that there should be a Wolf in or a Wolf out. I don't know if we've reached that point yet. I've seen managers get a ton more runway than he's gotten. But I still think that there's some method to the madness, that Rodo, he's too smart. And I feel like he's been at one of the biggest clubs in the world. There's no way he got there off of luck. He must know what he's doing. I think that sometimes, even if you can't see it, you got to trust the process a little bit.
My boy, couldn't have said it any better, man. I agree. I'll go ahead and agree with that take. Trust the process. It's a marathon out here, I guess. We're running a marathon, so but to Wolf playing the young players, he doesn't do it. And moving on from the old heads, I think like you say, Burrell, filter them out, get them out, and have nothing but young talent here, so that he has to trust his young players because he doesn't trust them at this point. It's proven. He
Yeah,
doesn't trust
it
them.
and it's possible to do it. We've seen examples in Europe where, like, I think back to like the older, early '90s Manchester United days. But you have someone like the likes of Eric Cantona leading a young group of generational talent. A lot of names nobody had ever heard before that are very much household names now. A lot of people think that setup can't work, and it can. You could have Driussi may not be comfortable with it at first, but you could have someone like Driussi who's very skilled, who knows this team in and out, who understands the freedom he's given on the pitch to create opportunities and command younger, less experienced troops around him. If he's that guy, right? And I'm not saying he is, he may or may not be, but that type of setup can work. And it's definitely better than the aging front line you guys have that looks very disjointed from the rest of the system that he wants to play. I don't know, man. I think there has to be moves this offseason. That is, if nothing really shakes up heavily with the roster, it's not even going to matter what manager you guys have. It's just not going to matter. You're going to go through this shit all over again next season.
You bring up some really great points. So we'll go ahead and move on. Wolf in, wolf out was the discussion there. Like I said, it's been 68 days since Austin FC has won. We did play New York Red Bulls tonight. Got the draw 1-1. Bring out the lineup real quick. We had Stuver in goal. We had Ring, Weissman, Lima, and Gallagher in the back. We had Valencia, Pereira, Wolf in the midfield, and we had Driussi, Rigoni, Ruti playing up, higher.
Did you say Valencia started?
Valencia started, and he played well. He played
looked
really
good.
well.
He
closed
good.
the game out, dude.
Yeah,
he got the
to make those reads
highest rating
and get to, get those balls that he was getting in the middle of the field in the last 5-10 minutes like that. I mean, we've shit on Valencia on this show before in the past. It's happened, and I think that.
But we've said that too, that he can close the game out. Yes,
but that's what he's supposed to
win
be.
the game.
Yeah, that's what he's supposed to be, though. He's supposed to be a 6.
Right. Yes, exactly. I agree. I agree 100%. But when we have Valencia on, we should have, like, if you have Valencia and Danny on, I feel like you're having 2 6s on. You have 2 6s on because we've already brainwashed Danny to the 6. He's not playing the 8 anymore. He's not, and we have Ring that is brainwashed even to the center back position now. So what 8 do we truly really have? Sofian Jafar and Valencia, like you say, he's a 6, but he's not a box to box. Those are my arguments. Is when he starts these games, he gets the ball, and what does he do? Play back,
Yep.
play back. He's not a box to box, and but to your point, he closed the game out, and that's what we needed. The 1-1. We needed the draw tonight. We needed a point at least on the road. We got it tonight. We're going with an own goal. Unlucky. He looked like he kind of tried to move out the way. He still hit the inside of his calf and bounced in. Unlucky by Rigoni.
Yep.
But I mean, the performance overall was okay. It wasn't bad. It was fine. Can't complain. But I wish I could see more from my players. I do. I see other teams. I see how explosive they are. Boom, boom, boom. I don't see that from my players anymore. I don't see that, bro.
And look, maybe we reached a point now where, again, some of the older, experienced players who need. I've always felt the way that veterans sometimes need almost more motivation from a manager because they've seen a lot. They've been this game in a long time. They played for more than a few different personalities. They kind of like what they like. And if they smell even a little ounce of bullshit, it takes more motivation to get them to do what you want them to do. And at times, I feel like that's been the case for Austin up front, and believe, and as well as I do, right? You coaching yourself. If the front line is not, doesn't matter what we're talking about, whether it be pressing to create the pressure to win the ball back, whether it be playing out on the counter, it doesn't matter what it is. Everything starts with the front line, and if they're not doing what you're asking them to do, regardless of the reason, it doesn't even matter what the rest of the team does. It just doesn't matter. Like, it all looks disjointed. It all looks like the game is slowed down for no reason. Like, people don't know what to do when they get the ball. They want to hurry up and give it away instead of creating chances and opportunities. I don't know. Everything starts with those guys, and those just happen to be the oldest dudes you guys have on this roster. So, to me, there's a lot that you guys can shake up with this team by just starting up front and seeing where it goes from there. But with that said, That Dallas is now up 2-1, by the way. With that,
Oh, come on! You're supposed to let me know when the game
you're
started
right.
again.
Well, my bad. I went on an epic rant, but well, that was just a penalty kick, and we converted that. I did see the Paul Arriola goal, but I don't want to get you too far off base here. It's 2-1 Dallas over Real Salt Lake. But look, man, I think tonight actually was the bad performance. If anybody actually tuned in and watched Austin play tonight, it really wasn't bad. Lima to me made some questionable decisions. They had that VAR review where he could have been sent off technically. But Valencia to me did his job. Bisonin actually looked really good as a center back.
He did.
I think that there are enough young pieces to get encouraged
Smart
about.
decision making tonight in the defensive half. Yeah.
Yeah, there's enough potential to get encouraged about if you're Austin FC fan, regardless of how long it's been since you guys won. But if you let this whole movement of Wolf out cloud your judgment on what's really wrong with this team, you guys are never going to be happy. You're never going to be happy with what you have. It can't just. I know the manager is responsible for a lot, and he does lead the team. But
and I feel like if you go for a team. If you go for a team in the MLS, I feel like you have to really lower the expectations, man. I feel like you just have to do it
all the way around.
All the way around. Results, away games, home games.
There's more growing pains. There's more growing pains for sure.
There is, exactly, yes. Compared to like the shirt that you have on, Arsenal, my club, Real Madrid.
Yeah.
If you grow up on that, if you could pretty much say that you're a silver spoon or freaking, grow up with royalty.
But those clubs also have issues. Look at the shit Manchester United is going through right now. Just look at it, right? Like not only on a 3-game losing streak, which hasn't happened in I don't know how many years, but then you look at past that, the Anthony drama, the Jadon Sancho drama, the Harry Maguire drama, like all of these happen to some of the top players on this planet, and to a manager that's highly revered, right? What if United fans started turning on Erik ten Hag because of all of these things that are happening to players that are frankly outside of his control, including whether or not ownership will sell and things like that? I'm not saying they happen all the time, but these things can happen because of issues that have been swept under the rug for a long time. And even in the case of Austin FC, some problems have been swept under the rug for probably a couple seasons now. And now they're really starting to pop their ugly head out when all your chips are down and times are tough. That's just kind of how it works. But if you can be patient enough to get past that, which, guys, keep in mind, how much excitement was there for this team at the beginning of the year? Like we haven't even gone a full season, with this version of Wolf and this team and the situation that you guys have now, and the impatience could just lead to one of the most toxic environments that this club's ever experienced. Like I think you have to, at least for now, especially if he makes playoffs. If Austin makes playoffs, you almost have to give Wolf another window and another opportunity, because I just don't know who else could actually do a better job. And if I'm wrong, if someone has like a list of candidates that they want to bring up, please do. I've thought about this. I don't know if that list really exists.
It doesn't exist at all. They talk about David Arnold, which is his assistant. I think if Wolf walks, he walks. Brett, he's the Austin FC2 coach. I don't see him leaving Austin FC2 to come up and coach this right now. Who's going to recover him? Whether qualify for playoffs already. But yeah, man. Austin FC, we know we've rambled a little bit too long about it. But like you say, the Wolf out crowd, I think we're on different sides of the wall here, because if he makes playoffs, I still think he should be gone. And you say if he makes playoffs, why not give him another chance? Which I could see both views. It doesn't bother me. I just feel like I've seen enough as a fan to know that these second halves will not change. We could be up at halftime 3-1 at home and still lose 4-3. I've seen it happen time and time again.
Do you think? Well, I want every person in the Wolf Out crowd to think about this question. What if you make the managerial change and it gets worse? That's the one thing I would ask everybody, right? To me,
well, see, I think it's a clean house thing. It's you maybe keep 10 players.
Okay, so what if what happened to, let's say, Chelsea happens to Austin FC, right? You get the front office. It's like, you know what? We're gonna clean house. We're gonna give this team the long-term identity we've always strived for. You go out, you spend a bunch of money, you bring a new manager in. Maybe they're a little more high profile and they've done some of this in the past, and they come with a good resume, and everybody's excited. And then they somehow perform lower than Wolf, right? How much runway are you going to give that manager? A season? 2 seasons? I would love for Austin FC fans to be able to answer that question effectively.
Let me
Because
ask you something. If so, is it fair to like have the same? And I told you already, we need to lower our expectations. But is it fair like to even just ignore what I said and to have those same expectations? Like, because do you remember Real Madrid when they had Rafa Benitez?
yeah, I remember that.
He coached 5 games and they fired him.
Yep, because they could see it.
I mean,
And look, like in those scenarios, right? Like that's what I'm saying, right? Is like sometimes you can think a guy is, and look, someone like the front office of Real Madrid are very savvy, smart, they know what they're doing, and when you could see after 5 games, this is not the identity you want this club to have. We need to stop the bleeding, and that's when you make that change again, and it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing because publicly you're admitting that you made a terrible decision. But if you can do that early, like in the case of Real Madrid, I think that's not the worst outcome possible. To me, the worst outcome is complaining the way that fans have been. And I understand it. I'm not saying that the fans are wrong in this scenario. They could be right. But you need to ask yourself the other question, which most fans haven't asked themselves, which is, what if you make a change and it doesn't work? And somehow you're worse. Somehow you're Toronto FC scraping by game after game, and you have a manager that's more high profile, or maybe has a better CV or resume. Maybe they have a history of bonding better with players, but it just doesn't work. What do you do then? And if you can't successfully answer that question, maybe you need to be a little more okay with Wolf being here, because at the end of the day, he has still given you the best season finish, which is only just a year plus ago, that this club's ever experienced.
Yeah, nah. Truth there. Last thing I want to touch on, I did see some talk. Danny Pereira, his contract is up at the end of the season. No renewals yet. We haven't seen anything.
Do you want to keep him?
Dude, would love to keep him.
But
I would love to keep him.
With the identity that you want to see this team have, with the discipline issues we all know he has, do you want to keep him?
I would love to keep him. I would keep him, man. He would be one of my top 5 to keep. So, said last thing, but Danny Pereira, does Austin FC make playoffs? And we'll end with that with Austin.
You have a game or two in hand. It's not the craziest thing in the world to suggest that Austin FC would make it. I think this game was big. It wasn't like the make or break game that you had to win. It would have been a big 3 points if you guys would have walked into Jersey and got those points. But there's still time. And right now, from 5th through 12th in the West, it's a shit show. It just is. Even Houston hasn't locked things down yet, right?
5th through 13th is 10 points.
Yeah.
10 points.
And there's still time, right? We have 7 matches left. I think that there's still time to create some waves in the West. I think if Austin does make it, it'll come down to decision day, final day of the season, and it won't be any higher than 9th. I think like you guys get in as the new wild card team in this new playoff format, and I still think you go out in that first round. But even just qualifying for playoffs, considering all the ups and downs Austin FC fans have been through this season, think about it. You're on a 2-month winless streak. To have that happen in a year that you make playoffs is a massive W. So yeah, I would still be okay with it. I think if I had to put a percentage on it, I'd say right now Austin FC probably has like a 30% chance to make playoffs. Like there's still a decent chance.
Yeah, that's a good number. Even if we make playoffs, man, I kind of hope
3-1
Dallas with their 3rd goal at RSL. But yeah, even if we're to make playoffs, I don't think we'd make a run. Dallas,
it's tough, man. It's tough because Austin is just like to make playoff runs, you have to have teams that are united, that the bond is pretty strong. They're, and if this was Austin FC last season, it'd be hard to bet against them. It just really would.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
you not only did they overperform, but they believed in each other in a way that is just hard to find in expansion teams.
Keep doubting us was the motto last year.
Yeah, and bro, for good reason, right? Like a lot of
Yeah.
people like would see Drew Drewski's goal scoring record and would still doubt him, and I like didn't make any sense. I was like, the only team I see beating this team is the team that in fact beat you guys, which ended up winning MLS Cup. I mean
LAFC.
that's just because on paper they're better than everybody, but like if you had that type of camaraderie, you could make a playoff run with how mixed you guys are as personalities right now, and how much tension there is probably. No, I think it's going to be anything short of impossible to make a run.
Austin FC hosts LA Galaxy this Sunday, September 24th, 8:30 p.m. Q2
Revenge match for
Stadium.
Fagundes or no?
Fagundes comes back and he hands us an L. He does it, bro. He scores.
So?
He scores on us, doesn't celebrate, and scores it in front of the supporters section.
He gives you the.
He does that. Hey. He throws up the LV still.
He probably shows off the tattoo. He probably shows off the tattoo. Where's it on his leg?
It's on his leg. Yeah.
That Austin FC tattoo. He's got a lot of love for Austin, man. It was. I had a chance to speak with Richie Contreras from Otro Por Favor, and we were talking about just how emotional that really was. That whole the sentiment behind Diego leaving, and dude, that has to be one of the matches of the week. I think him coming back into the Q2. I don't know how fans are going to feel, especially the fans that are, I don't know how closely tied you felt to Diego. There's a lot of fans that felt that they were really connected with that guy. And at this point, I would say he's MLS kind of royalty in general, being on 3 different teams now. If he scores, man, it's almost going to be sweet irony, I think.
Yeah. No. So unfortunately, due to the accident, had to sell all the tickets and stuff and all that. So, but yeah, done. If I can get some seats to the game, I'll be there. But first 10,000 fans get a hat, free hat. I got my. This is one hat that I got, and then you can see there's Diego right there.
Hell yeah.
That's his autograph right there.
That's crazy, bro. So you really think LA Galaxy, because again, they haven't figured it all out.
Yeah, no, dude, they're hot, bro. I know they lost to LAFC, but they're hot still.
But they let in 4 goals. It wasn't like they lost 2-1 or something. They let in 4.
Yeah, bro, they let in 4 goals, bro. But I mean, Danny Boanga is unreal. The guy is unreal.
I still think he's overrated, but
inside BMO Stadium, it's
tough.
gonna be hard to beat anyone. It's gonna be hard to beat them in that. So I think LA takes us, bro. I really do. I don't see how could I take anybody else over Austin right now. I mean, besides Austin right now.
I think Austin has a shot. I would say I could see.
We always have a shot, but I don't see it.
What's your prediction for the score?
3-1.
3-1 Galaxy? Bro, you're giving Galaxy a lot of credit, man. A lot of credit. Not that they're bad. I just think sometimes when expectations are heavy, they don't perform. And they have the talent to do it too. They just don't for some reason. But they're I would say some of the offensive problems that they have somewhat match some of the defensive problems Austin FC has in terms of impact. I would say, to me, this is probably going to be a draw 1-1. Austin lets a goal in. It's probably just going to happen. If it's Fagundes, it'll be poetic justice. But it may not be. He may be the facilitator. He may just create a crazy opportunity for them. I still think they score, but I think Austin scores too. And I think that maybe you guys take a little bit of pride. I didn't see what Wolf said after the match tonight. Maybe something to hang your hat on. I'm not really sure what he could say at this point to motivate them. But I think the fact that you're going up against an old teammate, for me, as a competitor mentally, I want to win that fucking game.
Yeah, I agree. So 5 matches left for Austin. Let's get into some FC Dallas. They are playing RSL at the moment, 76 minutes.
Yeah.
MLS game. Oh man, 3-1. Dallas overtaking this game. You got your Rigoni on the field right now, Adiola. He has been playing okay tonight. He
scored. And he got like a very interesting opportunity against Sounders as well. I think he's playing with a little more confidence right now. He's dealt with a lot of injuries. I know I've given Ariola a lot of shit on this show, a lot.
He probably heard you.
You know what, man? I like to think, I don't know. I like to think that, new dads have like superpowers. I think that it was just announced that he's getting ready to have his first child. And sometimes that can be enough to just spark something
Hey,
with
we
you.
can glow too.
Yeah, bro, we can glow too in different ways, man, different ways. But I think, look, he scored tonight. I love beating RSL. Honestly, outside of Chicho, I can't stand RSL. Like, in my opinion, I just can't. I can't stand Brian Vera. I can't stand so much of what that team stands for. I think RSL just got a goal called back. Yeah, for offside.
No, I was
Uh,
offsides.
yeah. But like at the end of the day, this is a team that was kind of in like this crazy form. In the last couple of weeks, they've dropped off a little bit, so we're probably taking advantage of that as Dallas. But we need this W, bro. We're coming off of the Sounders draw, which I was at on Saturday. We started off the match really, really well, and the Ferreira gives a costly ball away that leads to that goal that I think Lodero scored. So we could have beaten the Sounders at home. We tied them both matches this season, 1-1 both times, one in Seattle, one in Dallas. They're in second place. It was probably accurate for who we were playing. I just hate to see us drop points at this point of the season, but I still think Dallas can make playoffs. I still think that,
Yeah,
we're
it's
we're,
so
we're, we're
tight, like
looking
you
decent.
say.
There's still time. We don't look as good as Houston right now, but I think Houston being a top 4 team, there aren't too many teams that do. So right now, I like how we're playing. It does suck for those who did not hear. Giovanni Jesus, the Brazilian right back for Dallas, tore his ACL in training over a week ago. We missed him, I will say, in the game against Seattle. I think Junca did a very, very good job filling in for him, but it was very clear that a midfielder was playing right back and not an actual right back. Tumasi is back, but he's kind of dealing with a slight injury himself too. So we're still dealing with some hits on the injury front, but it's not nearly as bad as it was. Ferreira's finally scoring again. He scored tonight. And I want to see him really take the reins of this offense. Ah, shit. He pulled a groin.
Did he?
Ferreira just pulled his groin. He's indicating to
Ah,
the bench that he just pulled his groin. Well,
I see
Ferreira might
that
be
now.
injured again, so we'll see. But I think we play a good amount of games, probably like 25% of this season without him, and we did win a decent amount in that stretch, so it's possible. Um,
You don't
but
want to go
I,
into playoffs without him, though.
we don't, and that's why I think that right now, after this game, we're coming into a stretch of the season that I think is actually like decently favorable for us. So I'm not super worried. I'd rather have him back for playoffs. I think that we have a decent enough attack that we can still win matches without him for right now. So
Mhm.
Dallas is not in a bad spot. I've liked what I've seen from guys like
You
Tafari.
got you got Smurf Tafari on.
Bro, he's good, man. I think Ibeyaga has been a revelation at center back this season. I think he's for someone who came
Dude,
from the USL, he's
you
looked
have
good.
solid center backs, bro. I would love to have either one of those guys.
Here's the thing. They look pretty good. We don't have very many clean sheets though. And that's the one thing that I would
Mm.
like to see us step up on is like we still give away goals on set pieces. We still make sometimes just costly errors that aren't
What do you think? They
necessary.
ball watch too much or what?
I think they're just on the same page. You think back to
Ah, yeah.
some of the goals that Tafari has given away this season, where he didn't know if Boss was going to come out, and it led to a striker getting a free open on a breakaway, or like Ibeyaga trying to head forward and heads backward, and we're in an awkward one-on-one. Like it's little things like that, but they're still both young center backs with a lot of promise moving forward, and so
Oh yeah, bro.
I say that a lot about a good amount of FC Dallas players. That's kind of how we do things. Um, for this season, I think we can make playoffs. I still don't know if Dallas is in a position where they can make a run. Like that to me is 50-50. Like it just depends on where this team is mentally when we get in there. But the beauty of Dallas in this form is that we are, I think, as direct and pragmatic as we are with our approach, how counterattacking heavy we are. This team is built for a tournament. This team is built to cause upsets just because we have an athletic front line. We have young guys who will run the full 90 and then some, and they believe in the managers that they have. Like, I still think that those types of teams can come in and barely make playoffs, make a good sized run. So it's
Yeah.
possible. But if we lost in the first round, that also wouldn't surprise
How's my guy been for you?
me.
Yaramendi.
I think Iara. Here's the thing, man. I think sometimes he's actually been good, but sometimes I feel like the midfield relies on him too much. And what I mean by that is we could like he'll give maybe not Paxton. Paxton Palmer calls a pretty experienced midfielder. I think he knows. But someone like Quignon or someone like even when Ariola comes back into the midfield to get the ball, they'll get the ball from Iyada, and then they're like, if the pass they want to make isn't on right then and there, they'll just give it back to him because they figure he's going to solve the problems. Like he'll find a way to distribute and get the ball out. And it's like he's never really been that guy in his career. He can do it,
Yeah.
but he's
Yeah,
just
right.
never been the guy. He's not the Luka Modric, to ping the
Right.
balls all over the
He's a
field.
great defensive guy, positional
Yeah.
wise and all that.
And
And
he knows where to put himself on the field, but he's just never
right.
been the true distributor. And so for us to
Nah.
rely upon him that way, it
Or
just
playmaker. Yeah.
yeah, it just looks like we're trying to make him that like the players in the field trust him more than they trust themselves. And
Because he's
that
been at Real Madrid and Real
yeah,
Sociedad and stuff.
it's hard to ignore that. But
Yeah.
if we can get past that where we're giving him like too much respect, um,
Yeah.
just let him be part of the team. Let
Hmm.
him help and let him do his job really well and have everyone else do their jobs really well. I think if we can do that, if we can find a way to for that to click before playoffs get here, we have a shot. If not, we're going to miss too many opportunities from just the fact that we're looking for him versus looking for the best possible option. And I mean, look, we've played even before this game, we had back-to-back games against very, very good teams. Seattle, we tie 1-1, and then Atlanta, we tie 2-2. Like those are two playoff teams that we could have beaten. And I feel like we're right there. We're not far away from this team getting to a point where they click and start taking down some good teams. It's just a matter of when, but I don't know if we'll get here fast enough.
Yep. The table currently in the West, you got Houston in 4th place, Dallas in 9th place, Austin FC in 12th place. I mean, what do you think?
A game could
What
change that.
place? Ninth,
Uh,
ninth place? Do you think y'all slip in
I,
the playoffs or
no, I think Dallas
higher
could
seed?
could work its way up to like seventh. I really think we could. Seventh or sixth. I think
So
that's how
ignore the
close the
wild
West is
card.
right now. Yeah. Avoid the wild card. I think we could. Now, if we get into, we get in at eighth, and it just is what it is, right? We'll try to play for that wild card game and be up for it. And I think that we're a team that can, for one game, if anybody doesn't remember the 4-4 shootout Leagues Cup match against Inter Miami, I think if Dallas can get up for one match, right? So I'm not even scared of that wild card match. I would just like us to see us put up a fight that allows this team to hit some of its potential before playoffs get here and maybe even finish a spot or two above that wild card spot. I think it's possible. And but with that said, these next three games don't get easy, right? We have the Crew. Everyone knows how good Columbus is. We have the Union, top team in the East, and not the top team, but a top 3 team. And then you have Houston, which Houston's playing well, but I don't ever count on anything in a derby match. In a derby match, it could go either way. We go to Houston for that one. They play better at home, but I don't think their crowd is going to be.
Copa Tejas? You care?
I don't give a shit about Copa Tejas, bro. Like I'll be honest, bro. I can't. I know the boys over at We Are Austin TV want to get T-shirts made. It's just not really my thing. I think if Copa Tejas gets bigger, that's awesome for the fans in Texas, but I'm not really playing for that at any moment in time. I do think though that Houston and Dallas is still a derby match, and I remember even the dog days of that derby match. Anything can happen. If we beat Houston going into October, Dallas is going to finish above the wild card spot, and we are hopefully going to make some waves in playoffs. I firmly believe that Houston at home in Houston, if we get that dub, anything's possible.
Yes, sir. I agree. So this weekend, you guys got Columbus Saturday, 7:30 p.m. at home.
Yeah,
I want your prediction on that. What do you think the score is going to be?
that's now with what we just learned about Ferreira. That's a big match.
Good
I don't
luck.
look if Ferreira doesn't play, that means guys like Bernie Camungo are playing, Jesus Jimenez are playing. I think it gets really tough. Even at healthy, man, Columbus could walk in here and cause a lot of damage. They're just that kind of team. And we all saw the moves they made during that second transfer window. I think it's panned out for them pretty well. Where are they in the East right now? They're top
Let's
four,
see. I'll
no?
show you real quick.
I believe they're top four.
Um, They're third place in the East.
Yes, they're top 4. Okay, so I think if we get a draw, I want to say I'll take it at home. You want to always say, hey, we'll walk out with a dub. It's our fortress. It is what it is. But we've lost to worse teams in our own stadium. You know what I mean? So I think this win against Real Salt Lake is massive. But if we don't have Ferreira available for the Columbus match, I say available. If he comes on as a sub, I still like our chances, and it could be a 2-1 Dallas, right? But a top 3 in the East. The East is much stronger than the West, in my opinion, this season. I hope we can pull out a point at home against Columbus.
It would be nice, right? So we'll get into some Houston real quick. Houston hosted Vancouver Whitecaps tonight. Vancouver, not so hot. Houston, pretty hot. Fourth place in the West. They did win 4-1.
Vancouver's top 4. I mean, or they were 5th whenever the matches started tonight.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. They have jumped up. I thought they were still
No,
down the way they were.
they've looked decent. Now there's still a lot left to play for, and then they've had some matches where they've won the points they should have won.
So 5th place, 4-1.
Mm-hmm.
Statement.
That
Statement
to me, that's what I'm saying. Statement win. This was a 5th versus 4th. This was one that I think you really wanted to see what 2 playoff bound teams could really do, and Houston shut the door on that argument immediately.
Yeah. So we got Herrera scoring again, minute 13, Dorsey, minute 44, Franco, minute 73, and Aliu, 84. The names you've been hearing all season long. Those 4 names, man. I mean, other than Bossy and Baird, those guys have just been turning it on for Houston. Houston does host. I mean, they go to Miami next Wednesday.
That's a good game
for the U.S. Open Cup. We will be live streaming. I will be live streaming. I don't know if you're going to be here.
I'm down.
But,
I'm down. I think Miami is. I mean, and if we didn't watch the Miami game tonight, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw what happened, right? But both Jordy and Messi came off inside of 40 minutes. And so, with Messi, it didn't look. I don't know if there was an actual injury that took place. It might have been just that he looks like his legs are tired. But that's a crazy minute to get pulled off in before halftime. With Jordy, it was a single one-off kind of muscular injury that it looked like on his right leg. And who knows how long that keeps them out for, right? Maybe they're just being cautious with the final around the corner, but I don't know, man. I think that will impact the game. Busquets can't do this shit by himself. He still needs people to score. He still needs attacks to happen. But Houston, man, I mean, some of these goals too. It's not like in the beginning of the season when they were just only scoring penalty kicks and that's really it. They look clinical, So and the Hector Herrera deflected free kick goal. It kind of is what it is, but the rest of them, they look like a team that knows what they're trying to accomplish on the pitch, and they may not get it every time, but they're creating enough opportunities to pump in 2, 3, 4 goals on an opponent. It's not just every match winning it 1-0.
Yeah, they've only lost 3 matches since July 1st.
Bro,
Austin FC
exact
has won
opposite.
2, and Austin FC has only won 2 matches.
The exact opposite vibe of Austin FC right now.
Yeah, bro. So I told you a while back, Houston, I thought they were going to be something pretty good, and thankfully that they're proving me right. Like I said, they got the U.S. Open Cup next week, the final. They win that one.
Where does that final take place?
It's Miami. That one's in Miami.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but if they do not sell this stadium out the following match for the presentation of this trophy, got questions, bro.
Yeah,
I got questions.
Houston fans, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck. I get it. I get it. I don't want to be insensitive, right? I think there's been a lot that's been burned between the FO and the supporters over the years. I agree, but at some point, if you want the sport to actually grow, now we're not even talking about Dynamo as a brand, right? That's one thing. You put that shit aside. I think if you want the sport to grow in your city, in your market, as we get closer to one of the pinnacles of this sport existing in this side of the world, which is going to be the 2026 World Cup, if you want to build up to that in the right way, just take the sport seriously in your fucking town, regardless of what issues exist between you and the front office. Like, at the end of the day, you want that or you don't. And right now, I don't think this team has done anything to to not have the trust of the fans. Put the shit with the FO aside. Do you support the players that are on the pitch? And if you do, if you find yourself watching the matches, just not going to the games, and you live in the market, there really isn't a good reason for you not to be there. There just isn't. Like at this stage, if this was Dallas, I'd be furious that more fans aren't up in arms over what's going on at Shell Energy Stadium. Like there needs to be more support, period.
100%, 100%. Last thing, we got to do it. Goals.tv. Code FIRE. Go support. Text Ring of Fire out there, man. There's a lot of things. That's the Netflix of soccer. I promise you guys. I promise. Anything you want to find, college, European, NWSL, MLS, whatever you got going on, international, CONCACAF. Hey, go check it out. I promise. What's going on over there, Jose?
Bro, it's going to be an exciting time coming into October and November. A different version of the site will be coming. We're making a lot of updates. It's going to have a slightly different look and feel in a really good way. I don't want to tease too much just yet, but there's a lot coming. And more importantly, if you're a creator who makes soccer-specific content, it's going to be a lot for you guys to get excited about too. On top of all of that, though, in terms of content itself, we got a ton that's made its way over. We now have more MLS, I would say, representation on board. Right, we do have a Dynamo creator that's on the platform now. We have more teams that are coming, bro. It's an exciting time, and now with Champions League starting, there are some creators on our platform starting to make Champions League content. So there's a lot to get excited about. I know MLS season is winding down, boys, but this sport goes year round, and there's going to be plenty of fresh content coming to the site for everybody to enjoy. So if you like discovering shows like this one, get your ass to goals.tv and go check it out.
Yeah, don't sleep on goals.tv, I promise you. And don't sleep on the code FIRE. Hey, lifetime free, all that. I know I love lifetime and free. So go get that. Go get that done. My boy, FC Dallas, 9th place. Austin FC, 12th place. Houston Dynamo, way above us right now. We're looking up at them right now like that.
There's a lot of pressure,
like Messi
though.
was in the Bernabeu.
There's a lot of pressure that comes along with that top 4 placing. So we'll see if Houston can hang on to it. I don't know, man. This is kind of uncharted territory for them, at least in the last half decade or so.
Very true. Very true. Episode 54, Text Ring of Fire. Go follow us on Twitter, Instagram. If you do not know, we do go live on YouTube. Like I said, next week we are going to be doing the live stream for the Houston versus Inter Miami. So if you come along, Jose, that'd be great. I'm trying to get Harry on here. I don't know what's up with Harry. I don't know what happened to him today. Hopefully he is okay. Like I said, things always happen. Things come up. We know how it is. Subscribe, leave review, rate us. Like I said, if you're on YouTube, just click the subscribe button real quick. It doesn't take much.
Free layer of support.
That's right. Jose, I appreciate you being here.
Yes, sir.
RB22 signing off. We'll see y'all next week for episode 55, or 2 weeks, episode 55. Live streams next week. See y'all.